Did you know 1 in 11 Americans will have developed some sort of form of PTSD in their lifetime? Hi, my name is Mireles, and I will just be discussing on PTSD and who it affects. Who does PTSD affect? PTSD affects three ethnic groups: US Latinos, African Americans, and Native Americans. But before we talk about that, let's go ahead and discuss briefly what PTSD is. PTSD stands for post-traumatic stress disorder, and PTSD can be caused by such events as something that's very minor, as maybe a traffic accident, or something that can be a very severe traumatic event. For example, someone who is a rape victim, or someone who is a combat veteran. It was once thought to be believed that only combat veterans develop PTSD. But in fact, that is not true at all. PTSD can be developed in almost anyone. Now let's go ahead and talk about, again, real quickly, the three ethnic groups that PTSD affects. The first group that we're going to talk about are US Latinos. Now, according to Rasha Wessels' article on PTSD in Latino culture, US Latinos are the fastest growing minority group. Given that they are the fastest growing minority group, they're the ones with the highest rate of developing PTSD. Now, in US Latinos, some factors that cause PTSD to develop are drug and alcohol abuse, also stress. Now, when US Latinos engage in abusing drug and alcohol abuse, that can cause them to be engaged in activities such as crime or other, adversely negative activity. Now, the second group, ethnicity group that's affected by PTSD are African Americans. Now, just like the US Latinos, African Americans do engage in drug and alcohol abuse, as well as gang-related violence and indiscrimination. Now, in African Americans today, we hear a lot about, law enforcement and African Americans who have a fear of dealing with law enforcement because they possibly could be feeling afraid of being killed, for a simple minor, traffic citation or what have you. So those are just some examples that African Americans deal with as far as them developing PTSD. Now, the third ethnic group that deals with PTSD would be Native Americans. Now, in Native Americans, they have to deal with both the mental and physical trauma of PTSD, as well as displacement. Now, today, the federal government displaces Native Americans and pushes them into their own native area, so to speak, or in their own reserve that causes isolation that ties in with displacement, or that for them being displaced. Now, even though I talk about the three ethnic groups that are affected by PTSD, another group that gets affected by PTSD, even though they're not an ethnic group, would be military veterans. I myself, with my own experience, have dealt with a very minor form of PTSD and probably still do deal with it today. I had this almost kind of anxious feeling when I'm around a large group of people. I typically don't like to have anybody, or a lot of people I should say, around me or behind me. So that would be my own personal experience with PTSD. As I conclude with my speech today, I talked about the three ethnic groups, as well as military veterans being also another group that deals with PTSD, as well as some of the facts that contribute to PTSD in these groups. So that is my speech on PTSD. Thank you for your time, and again, my name is Rick Mireles. Again, thank you.